Welcome. Let's just dive right in. I want you to take a second and envision the absolute highest standards of a modern luxury hotel. Picture those gleaming lobbies, the flawless, intuitive service, the perfectly coordinated global events happening across multiple time zones. It's magic, right? But behind all of that breathtaking excellence, there is a complex, deeply human workforce making it happen every single day. Today, we're focusing on an absolutely vital element of our industry, one that literally dictates the success or failure of those very operations: work-life balance and well-being in modern hospitality operations. Let's get started. Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations and performance support. I am pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. We look forward to supporting your professional growth in the hospitality industry. Okay, here is a quick look at what we'll be covering in today's briefing. First, we'll examine the actual demands of hospitality employment. Second, we'll dive into strategies for operational balance. Third, we'll discuss promoting mental health awareness. Fourth, we'll look at holistic well-being and leadership. And finally, we'll wrap up with the strategic value of well-being. All right, moving right into Section 1, Demands of Hospitality Employment, the realities of the industry. Work-life balance just isn't a luxury in our field anymore. It's a central operational concern. The very nature of our business puts some really profound and unique demands on our workforce. Let's look at the first one: long hours. Hotels are dynamic, 24/7 ecosystems. Unlike a standard corporate office, our peak operating times are weekends, late nights, and major holidays. This inherently disrupts traditional social rhythms for our teams. Next, consider emotional labor. Honestly, this is probably the most draining aspect of the job. It's that continuous requirement for staff to present a flawless, welcoming demeanor to guests, no matter what. Imagine a front desk agent who has to absorb the frustration of an irate traveler, all while suppressing their own natural stress just to keep up that warm, professional smile. That level of constant emotional regulation, it takes a massive psychological toll. And finally, there's immense operational pressure. Whether it's turning over a massive ballroom for a VIP corporate event in an impossibly tight window, or a kitchen coordinating a fully booked fine dining service where the margin for error is absolute zero, the high-stakes reality of real-time service is relentless. Simply recognizing and respecting these three pillars of pressure is the absolute first step for you as a capable leader. But understanding the pressure is just the beginning. That brings us to Section 2, Strategies for Operational Balance, where we look at how to actually mitigate that heavy burden. Supporting balance requires deliberate, highly strategic action from leadership. It doesn't just happen by accident, right? It starts fundamentally with thoughtful scheduling. And by that I mean moving away from just auto-generating rosters based strictly on forecasted occupancy, and instead actually anticipating the human needs of your team. It's knowing when a team member needs a weekend to recover from a grueling convention week. Number 2 is establishing realistic workloads. There's a really common trap in hospitality where we perpetually run a lean staff just to save on immediate labor costs. But here's the thing: consistently stretching teams too thin ultimately destroys your long-term efficiency, and it drives up incredibly costly turnover. Third, you have to demonstrate a genuine, uncompromising respect for personal time. Establish firm operational boundaries. For instance, no messaging a banquet manager on their scheduled day off unless it's a catastrophic emergency. Finally, introducing flexibility where possible is a total game changer. Even in rigid shift work, allowing staff minor flexibilities to manage their personal lives and family commitments directly enhances their well-being. The research shows this significantly reduces the risk of burnout. As we continue to elevate our standards, we arrive at Section 3, Promoting Mental Health Awareness, with a specific focus on early intervention. There is a profound paradigm shift happening right now regarding mental health in our industry. Historically, the hospitality sector, especially in high-pressure areas like the culinary brigade system, relied on isolated initiatives, shrouded in a lot of deep stigma. In those outdated environments, asking for help was mistakenly viewed as a weakness. If you were overwhelmed, you were just expected to push through the pain. But today, the executive standard is entirely different. It's centered on integrated support and deep psychological safety. Cultivating a psychologically safe environment means that any employee, whether they're a junior line cook or a senior revenue manager, can step forward, voice their struggles, and seek support without any fear of retribution, professional penalty, or judgment. Breaking down that historical stigma is absolutely foundational to modern team management. Now, psychological safety is achieved through proactive capability. You simply cannot support a team member if you're blind to the fact that they're struggling. Training leaders to recognize early stress indicators significantly improves your success rate for intervention. And keep in mind, stress in hospitality rarely looks like an overt breakdown. More often, it looks like a typically punctual, meticulous concierge suddenly arriving late for shifts. It looks like a dedicated room attendant starting to consistently miss details in their quality checks. Or maybe a normally cheerful bartender becoming noticeably withdrawn or overly cynical. By equipping yourself and your future managers to spot these subtle micro-indicators, you empower your team to intervene proactively. It lets you pull someone aside for a supportive chat, offer resources, and adjust workloads way before permanent burnout takes hold. Which naturally brings us to Section 4, Holistic Well-Being and Leadership. This is where we integrate everything into the hotel's overarching culture. Well-being initiatives simply cannot survive in a vacuum. They've got to be woven into the very fabric of daily operations. To achieve true integration, 3 elements have to operate in perfect alignment. First, organizational policies must explicitly support the employee. These are your written rules, PTO structures, break times. Second, leadership behavior has to flawlessly reflect those policies. Managers must practice exactly what the employee handbook preaches. And third, the unspoken organizational culture must inherently value health and balance. Alignment is everything here. Imagine a scenario where corporate policy mandates a full hour for lunch, but the unspoken operational culture in the restaurant is that anyone who actually takes that full hour is viewed as lazy by their supervisor. In that scenario, the policy is effectively useless. Without policies, behaviors, and culture working in total harmony, your well-being initiatives are going to fail to make any real impact. And this holistic philosophy is actually the bedrock of your curriculum. The educational models at Europe Hotel School London explicitly frame well-being not as some optional perk, but as a fundamental, non-negotiable leadership responsibility. Take a second to really absorb the gravity of that. The era of just delegating staff well-being over to a remote HR department, that's over. As a future department head, general manager, or executive committee member, managing the well-being of your staff is your primary duty. You are the architect of your team's operational environment, and their ability to deliver world-class service depends entirely on the strength and safety of the structure that you build for them. Finally, we reach Section 5, the strategic value of well-being. Let's examine the tangible business outcomes of these practices. Let's look at the cause and effect here. When holistic employee support is your daily input, the business outcomes are truly transformative. First, comprehensive support drives profound engagement. From an ethical standpoint, your staff are more present, positive, and focused. In hospitality, that directly translates to elevated guest experiences, flawless service recovery, and significantly higher guest satisfaction scores. Second, support drives exceptional retention. Strategically, in an industry where turnover is notoriously high and the cost of recruiting and training replacements is just staggering, retaining your top talent becomes your ultimate competitive advantage. Safeguarding their well-being is literally how you protect your property's operational continuity. So we arrive at this definitive conclusion, drawn right from modern hospitality research. Well-being is simultaneously an ethical imperative and a vital strategic priority. It is unequivocally the morally right thing to do for the dedicated human beings under your care, making sure they leave their shifts whole and healthy. But concurrently, it's the absolute smartest thing to do for the profitability and efficiency of your property. In modern leadership, human care and top-tier business performance are not mutually exclusive. They are deeply, permanently, and powerfully intertwined. We've navigated the intense demands of our industry, the mechanics of operational balance, and the absolute necessity of psychological safety. Now, the future of this global industry sits securely in your hands. As you continue your online learning journey with Europe Hotel School, I want to leave you with this to deeply consider. Will you be a manager who simply perpetuates the exhausting, high turnover cycles of the past? Or will you be the modern leader who proves every single day that world-class hospitality fundamentally begins by taking world-class care of your team? The choice and the profound responsibility is yours. Thank you for your dedication to operational excellence.